Welcome to Zunda channel. My name is Jackson. Zunda is a YouTube channel where our guests share their success experiences, what we call the Zunda moment. If you have achieved academic success, professional success, business success, or you're running a charity, and you're willing to come and share with us your success experiences or success journeys, please send us an email, zundachannel@gmail.com. We believe your success story is so powerful that it can help someone, particularly the young people who we work with. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel so that we can notify you when our new guest videos are available. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for today's guests. We are speaking to one of the new achievers. He's just achieved his PhD in economics. And his name is Dr. Gowokani Chirwa. Congratulations, Dr. Chirwa, and welcome to our program.
Thank you, Jackson. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, so, and you've just achieved your PhD, and I know it's been quite a challenging time for you. The past 3 years,
Yes.
you've been studying full time here at the University of York.
Sure.
Yeah, particularly, that you have a family, you've got a wife and a daughter, it's not an easy thing actually to do education.
So I have some funny daughter.
Exactly, yeah. So, you're one of the, good examples actually to the young people who are trying to pursue their careers, So one thing I would tell you young people is that do your education before you have a family,
Of course.
Yeah, because when you have the family, it's not an easy thing actually to start education and, running the family as well. It's not easy at all. Right, so Dr. Chirwa, I'll call you doctor because you've just achieved your doctorate, in economics.
Thank you.
Could you briefly tell us exactly, how did you get into your profession as an economist?
Oh, well, so my career started back in Malawi. So that time, for me to go into economics, I was very much fascinated with issues to do with the daily transactions of how people behave in terms of exchange. So I was quite motivated by a number of factors. We used to have I used to live in a neighborhood whereby some of the people were working in economics. Some of them were just mere day-to-day traders, like business persons selling in the markets. And I was quite fascinated to say, what is it that drive these transactions? So in the end, I found myself going towards secondary school, and then with these ideas that I had in mind, and then I was just kind of fascinated to say that the same day-to-day transactions were also the same things that I used to make at places like the church. So I said, maybe there's something in common that drive these things that I can learn. So that's when I was growing up, economics started to come into play. To be precise, yeah.
Okay, so under your undergraduate degree, what did you study when you went to university?
So, in my university, just a bit of background. I studied in Malawi, so that's a poor country down south of Africa, where people expect you that you cannot do anything on earth, but I tell you, we can do something. You can see me as an example. So in college, I studied social sciences, and I majored in, my major was economics and sociology. So those are the things that I just studied in my undergraduate.
Right. Okay, so from what I understand, you have a job at the moment in Malawi, isn't it? You are a lecturer, isn't it?
Yes, at the University of Malawi.
Exactly. Yeah. So could you briefly tell us what are your responsibilities in your role as a lecturer? What do you do? What do you do?
Quite a number of things. The first thing is to make sure to impart knowledge to students. So in other ways, you're trying to create people who can understand economics in the sense of day-to-day life, from that abstract conceptualism into reality. That's the first thing. Another thing, and most important, that most people usually don't discuss is about motivating the students themselves to pursue their dreams. And also another job also involves things like research. You need to tell the world How is the things like economics can improve their life, or how does it happen so that they understand the world in which they live in. Yeah. So those are some of the jobs. Also, I forgot one. What is known as what's that term again? Community impact. So it's whereby you can go to places like rural areas and sit down, talk with people who don't have a chance or who haven't had a chance to be in tertiary education. You have to tell them things like how should they understand the economy in which they live in, because everybody lives in an economy. It doesn't matter whether they went to school or not. So sometimes you have to just make up time to sit down with those people, tell them something about economics. Yeah,
right. So from your responsibilities, I know you deal with young people, who are in university.
Of course.
What major changes have you seen, or what has been your impact to them, when they go out in the field to join, in organizations or industries, what have you, what could you say or elaborate to us what you think actually is the impact that you have done to your students?
Big impacts. Big impacts. So I'll say that since I started teaching at the university in 2012, I've had quite a number of students who have successfully taught, and they have gone out there into the field. So some of the impacts that I've seen is that some of the students have gone into policy-making institutions. We're talking about Ministry of Economic and Planning. Some of them have even gone further to do their masters. Some of them have been good research assistants. And some of them, using the same things that we've taught them in class, they've been in a position to open up businesses as entrepreneurs. They are even in a position to employ other people. So you can see that using the systems that through the university have impacted in the students, they have been in a position to also have their own impact. So it's like a multiplier effect of whatever we're doing.
Right. So to date, what has been your greatest success in your profession?
In my profession, my greatest success? Well, in academics, it's quite difficult just to measure success in terms of one. But I'll tell you that on a personal note, the greatest success has been achieving the PhD. But most importantly, is my greatest success has been that ability to produce human capital. The students that I've produced for the world, that's my greatest success. Because I can now say that I've contributed to the world through human capital development.
Okay, so who has been the greatest influence in your life, and what lesson has that person actually impacted on you?
Oh, the greatest influence in my life.
Yeah, or the greatest influencer,
Okay, big question, because as somebody who's been through education systems, the influences come from different points and different people. So I would say the greatest influence has come from my father. My father in terms of the hardworking spirit. My mother in terms of the mentality that she instilled in me. So she used to tell me that believe in yourself. Nobody can do things you want apart from yourself. My father had a saying, there's no substitute to hard work. You just have to put effort into things for you to achieve. So my mother used to develop me quite a lot mentally, because he used to tell me that in whatever you do, always remember that a human being is made up of three things: the physical, the spiritual, and the emotional part. Whatever you're doing, try to use all those skills together.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm also learning something out of this as well. Yeah, so that's good. So, what has been the kindest, or let me say, who has been the kindest person to you in your life? If you can
kindest. Well, there have been different gestures that have been there. So one of them that I remember quite a lot, apart from my parents, because those are the first kind people that one gets, but somebody outside the family has been, I would say, one of my colleagues at work who also happens to be a church elder at one of our churches. So there was a point in time that I almost like dropped out of school. You know, school is not easy. But if it were not for the impact of this person, I wouldn't finish that master's program. And I don't think I would have been doing a PhD by now.
Right.
So I'd say that person has been one of the kindest person. It was just a one-off event, but it really did change a lot of things.
Okay. So when in life do you feel actually you've been alone or lonely?
Wow, tough question. So I would say pretty much during my undergraduate years, there was a time when when you're doing those things, you need people to come and comfort you. So things were not working within the family cycle. So I'd say that was the time that I'd say I was pretty much alone. But otherwise, well, things have been good.
Right. Okay, that's good. So if you could hold on some memory, from your life forever, what would that be?
The experience in York. It's one of the greatest memories that I've had.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Because living in York has taught me two things, no more than two things actually. That I've met people like you, Mr. Malinga, who have always, when I came here I was pretty much young, You people always used to advise me to say, well, there are a lot of negativities, but if you want to achieve, always think the positive. And it's a thing that has driven me throughout the 4 years. At the same time, within York, I met some people who used to think that people from Africa cannot do anything. But I've always proved those people wrong most of the times,
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So it's both the positive and negative memories.
Right. Okay. So, if you were to be missed, like now, I'm sure you're preparing actually to go back.
Fly back to Malawi.
To Malawi after you've achieved, after you've done your graduation,
Yes.
What would people actually miss about you, in your sense?
So, to be honest, the biggest thing that people would miss about me is they'll miss the person who was frank and honest in whatever dealing that they were doing. Because in whatever interactions I have with people, I don't like beating about the bush in terms of if something goes wrong, I'm going to be on point. If something goes okay, I'm going to compliment. So it's a thing that most people like, but I think I have that unique character in interactions. Yeah, so that's one thing that people would definitely miss.
So if you didn't actually pursue this line of profession which you did, which you did, what you have done, how do you imagine your life would have been without pursuing the PhD or undergraduate masters and then now PhD? How do you imagine your life would have been?
I don't think I can even imagine something better. It would have been terrible, terrible. Because to be honest, if one doesn't do well in school, things don't turn out well back home. Because we don't have those a lot of opportunities that people get into. We tend to realize most of these opportunities once we are already old, but I understand that success starts at a young age. So we grow up in an age where you know nothing, and then you realize later that, oh, maybe if I have done this, I would have been to some point B. So if I didn't do education, I don't think my life would have been the same. It would have been definitely not so good. I don't know which direction, but it would have been not so good.
Okay. Okay. So now, do you have any regrets in your life?
Regrets? In terms of what?
Professionally or family or friends or anything that you wish it did not actually happen, or you did not meet somebody.
Well, there's no life without regrets. There's always life with regrets. So, I would say one of my greatest regrets was the fact that although I went into economics, but I had envisioned myself to be somebody into information technology. I've always taught people that, into IT and all these other stuffs. But the environment that I grew up in did not allow that.
Right.
Yeah. Apart from that, I'd also say that, well, I don't know whether I can count this as a regret or not. I had an opportunity to do the same studies in the USA, but I opted to come to UK for some reasons I don't even know.
The city of York.
Yeah. So I don't know what's the opportunity cost of that. So it's 50-50.
Yeah.
But in terms of family, no, I don't have any regrets regarding that.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Now, for the young people actually we are targeting, for this interview, what would be the best advice you can ever give to them as they are planning actually to get into, into economics? What do you say could be the most important things to start with? Starting actually from the primary school, secondary school, university, and then go on with masters and PhD. What would be the best steps or the best advice that they can follow actually in your shoes?
Well, I'll spend the whole day saying those things.
Yeah, you can summarize to us, please.
Let's just do some 2 or 3 things. The best principle that I've learned in life, starting from my father, my mother, and then some of the mentors that I've had in college, is one thing. This principle called DIY. Do it yourself. That's the first principle. If you want to become an economist, there is nobody who can make you an economist apart from yourself. So step number 1, if you are in high school, primary school, I would say the starting point in economics is to be good at mathematics. Mathematics and language, because you have to do the quantitative side and then you have to know how to write those things. So when it comes to that, I'll tell you one thing. Nobody is born excellent or good. We all learn in life. I'll tell you, I was so terrible at mathematics. Until I was in high school, the very final year, somebody just told me one word to say, look at this. You feel like, he was speaking to me, he told me that you feel like you're a failure, but it's just your attitude towards this subject of mathematics that fails you. It's the attitude, not you. So change your attitude, be positive. And that was a change of things. I ended up being a star student from arts into sciences, mathematics sciences.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah,
that's good.
So that was the turn of things. In the end, I found myself into the economics discipline. So as they grow, learn to do things by themselves. Believe in themselves. All right. For those who believe in God, believe in God. For those who don't, believe in something, because they say that if you don't have hope, there's nothing to live for. So always hope for something. That's what makes you work. So in summary, I would say self-belief and motivation. That's the most important in everybody's career. Sure.
Yeah, so apart from mathematics and sciences, which other subjects are the major ones, particularly for the students who are doing A-levels and starting actually from O-levels and A-levels? Which are the entry subjects would say these are critical in order for you to get into economics?
Yeah, so I think because education systems differ, I know that here in the UK, they start offering like a business, finance, and economics studies at their level. So they are better off doing those subjects. But the advantage with the UK system is that it doesn't mean that if they don't do well in these undergraduate, or not undergraduate, but high school courses like finance, business, that's the end of it. No. The college university system is also designed in such a way that
you can capture students
from different disciplines. Yes. It's unlike from where I come from. If you don't do well in mathematics at high school, that's the end of it. It will be hard for you to get into economics. But here, it's so different. So the basics for any other country in terms of if students are interested in economics is mathematics, because economics tend to be quantitative over time. So you don't need to get 90%. You just need a grade that makes you pass mathematics. So I think I've heard students complaining to say, well, look at me, I didn't get an A, an A plus, a B, I got a D, and then they decide to leave or quit school. No. The most important thing is by the end of the day to pass your course. So even if I've had friends myself who were like terrible in class. So terrible.
No.
Every time they have to pass through standardization. Sometimes they had to resit. But as I'm talking, some of them are working with the United Nations, okay, the International Monetary Fund.
Right.
But these were students who everybody counted them off. But why? Because they persisted. They knew that hard work pays. There's no substitute to hard work. That's the principle that they used. Now they finished their courses.
Right.
Sure.
Thank you. That's actually brilliant. That's
Of course.
That's good. So finally, is there anything you'd want to add to our subscribers in your profession? Is there anything that you would probably say, this probably I've missed it, but it's very important for your personal development?
Okay, so personal development, it doesn't matter whatever you're doing. The most important thing is to read books. If you want to be an entrepreneur, for you to succeed, you have to know what others did, how they did it, what were their problems. If you are in economics, it will be the same. But in today's world, things have changed. Not many students or not many young people are interested in reading. Okay? Information is available now on Google everywhere. You can have soft books or whatever it is. A good example that I might also tell you is that we say, look at the case of, okay, let me use this, this is an iPhone. Yeah, I'll give you an example of an iPhone. In the past, the job that this iPhone can do was done by a video camera, okay? There had to be a man holding the camera, but these days, all those things can be done with an iPhone. The thing is this.
Here's some information.
If you don't update yourself, you become obsolete. Simple principle.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, for you to update yourself, you have to read something, whether it's on Google, it's in books, or whatever. But above all, try to sit down with people who have succeeded in life, understand how they did it. It's not that it was automatic that they succeeded. They had a lot of challenges. I would say success, in most cases, is just a tiny bit of the many failures that are behind.
Yeah.
So you have to learn to bypass all those things for you to succeed. So that's what I would say. But above all, believe in yourself. Nobody can do a thing without believing in themselves. Never.
Brilliant. That's very
Sure.
good. That's very good. So on a point 0 to 10, how weird are you?
Weird.
Yeah. 10 means the highest. You're very weird. 0 means you're not weird.
Okay.
5 means you're weird. Somehow midway.
Well,
So give us your
my personal rating.
yeah.
I'd say maybe 8.
Right.
Yeah. 8 because I'm basing on how I interact with most of my friends. They have always said that I'm kind of a weird guy who gives people an impression that as if he's crazy, but knows exactly what he's doing. All right. So most of the times people have rated me like you are 10 out of 10 weird. So I said no, I'm not that extreme. 8.
All right.
Sure.